Hey everyone, so this is a new series that I'm trying out. It's experimental. I will be doing monthly tarot readings for all of the different zodiac signs. So feel free to watch your sun, moon, or rising, or all of them if you actually have the time to do that. There will be extended versions and those links will be down below. This is a collective reading, so keep that in mind when you're listening to it. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If your sun sign isn't feeling like it's resonating with you, then maybe check out your rising sign next or your moon sign. So given that it's a collective reading and it's not one-to-one, it's not tapping into one exact person. So if you do want something more specific, you're welcome to book with me, but that will also be a link down below in the description. So because this is new and experimental, this is my first set of videos this month, I'd love to know how to improve this and how to make it more valuable and what you guys really think. So please let me know down in the comments as well what resonated with you, what things you'd like to make sure that I keep so that as I'm experimenting with the format that I don't take something out that a lot of you really like. So, and also if there are things that you have perhaps seen with other readers that you have enjoyed and you want to see if I can incorporate that, please let me know. One other thing I want to mention besides all of that is that we are self-determined and not predetermined. And my belief is that the tarot is a really useful tool to have messages or omens come through, which is why I say take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But we're all ultimately making our own decisions. So if you get a message in tarot that has you consider maybe shifting course, or it affirms something for you, great, fantastic. Just know that we all are the masters and creators of our own experience. So take with it what resonates and works, but really give it some thought. And, you know, I'm not a person who advocates for letting any one piece of these types of technologies dictate completely what we do without giving it its proper thought and really sitting with our emotions and deciding for ourselves what actually works best. So just really want to put that out there to make sure that you're considering that as you listen. Other than that, if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of these going forward, please like and subscribe. It helps me to continue to know that this is something that you want to see. I'm also considering doing full moon and new moon readings. I might even start to do bi-weekly depending on what people want. So again, your feedback is what really lets me know how to structure these going forward. So here's to the first month of trying these out, and I look forward to seeing more of you guys. Thanks. All right, Cancer, welcome to your February 2022 reading. So if you watched the intro, I don't want to repeat a bunch of things, but just a quick reminder, the format may shift. I'm going to continue to refine these videos, so please let me know down in the description below what you liked, what worked well for you, if there are things that you would like me to incorporate so that I can continue to improve these readings as we go forward. And of course, the extended readings will be, the links will be down below for my Patreon. All right, with that said, let's get started. Let's take a look at, we're going to start with what are the general, what's the general theme for Cancers in February 2022 and what any challenges are and any spiritual advice. So let's start with what's the overall theme that's happening for Cancer. I'm already loving the theme for this. Challenges and spiritual advice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull for also career, and then we'll look at love, relationships, and then we'll go into each section in more depth, right? So let's take a look at the theme for Cancers in February 2022. Theme for work. All right, and challenges for Cancer with regard to work. That shot out. All right, so we have King of Swords and actually Queen of Swords, so both of them showed up. That's really interesting. And then we are going to take a look at what the spiritual advice is. All right. we just had a bunch of them pop out. So we're gonna move these up here. And like I said, I'll bring them all into frame. I am looking at getting a higher camera stand so that we can get these all in frame. So bear with me for right now. Let's take a look at love theme for Cancers in February. The challenge and spiritual advice. I feel like that needs another good shuffle. Spiritual advice. All right. Okay. So this is an interesting reading, Cancer. Let's take a look at these one section at a time. Just gonna move these out of the way so we can concentrate on one at a time. All right, so overall theme is really beautiful. We're looking at the star. The star is definitely about healing. It's about this kind of rebirth. It's very new energy, right? Where it comes in the major arcana is we're moving into this kind of like a healing. It's like after some healing, after going through the fires, after releasing and letting go, grieving, or whatever it is that got us to this place, any kind of difficulty that got us to this place, we're having this space of rebirth. I actually think that this is really cool because it's aligned with what's happening in astrology. So we, at the end of January, came out, just before the end there, came out of Venus retrograde, and also on February 3rd, we're coming out of Mercury retrograde. So it's like when we're in these periods of retrogrades, there are periods of review, right? So being in review, sometimes that does include friendships, connections, lovers, or business partnerships, or projects, or things like that. While those are in review, some of them are seen as not really in alignment, not really meant to go forward. And so there might have been some kind of grieving or loss or letting go. Definitely a time of revisiting, revisioning, revising everything. And so after a period like that, we definitely come into a space that is like a rebirth. So this is a clean and beautiful, amazing space. There's so much possibility that's happening, which I think is really tied in, which I'm gonna get to right now with the challenge. But even notice the lotuses in this particular deck, right? The lotus is like they grow through the mud, they grow through the mire, and this is where they are coming like into their becoming, into their unfolding, right? And that's the energy overall that's available to you in the month of February. And then what we see here is the Magician in the position of your challenge. So the way that I read this is that the challenge is in recognizing the actual power that you have, that is at your disposal, that you can wield to create the world that you have, that you want to create for yourself, whether it's in love or business or career or whatever it is, how you want to create your world. For, like, what this is saying is basically like you've somehow forgotten that you have the ability and all of the power that you need to actually create what it is. So don't let yourself get tripped up by thinking that you don't have the resources, you don't have what you need more of this, that, or the other. You actually have all the elements present to create what it is that you need, and you need to remember that and not forget that, especially with this card. It's like these are both very ripe for creating in a space of newness, what it is that you want to create. The spiritual advice definitely tied into all of this, right? The Death card. And so a lot of people can kind of get squeamish about the Death card or the Tower card when they show up in readings. And one of the things that I really love about the Death card is that it's really a card of transformation. The spiritual advice here is whatever remnants are left over from before this actual period that we're coming into, whatever there are remnants of that need to be let go of, whether it's limiting beliefs, old perspectives, old plans for the way that you wanted your life to go, relationships of any kind, friendships, lovers, business partnerships, whatever it is that's there to let go of, however, whatever thing is draining your life force energy, you need to cut the shit and let it go. It's time to let that shit go so that you actually can access your power, so that you can create this beautiful beginning, this beautiful healing space from this. If this is something that looks appealing to you, this is the advice that you're being given, right? So it seems pretty straightforward to me. I don't want to spend too much time on that. Let's move on to the next, right? And in the extended reading, we may actually pull some extra cards. I'm feeling like we might pull an extra card or two for that. All right, so then when we look at your career path, and you actually had a lot come through for your career. So I'm really hoping that these cards are very visible. Like, I really love this deck. By the way, if you guys ever have questions about which decks I'm using, feel free to ask me. I'm happy to share. So I am a deck whore. Absolutely. So when I've seen other people's readings online and I really like one, I definitely reach out. So I know the feeling. So definitely feel free to reach out. I feel like that was for somebody who's watching this. All right, let's get into it. So we're taking a look at your career, and when we're looking at the overall theme, we've got the Knight of Wands. The thing about the Knights in the tarot deck is that there are a couple of things, right? There are the shadow aspects and the really beautiful aspects. One of the shadow aspects of the Knights is that they tend to act first before thinking something through, especially with something that is like a Knight of Wands. This is very fiery energy, right? The Wands are all about creation and movement and action and going forward, right? So there is so much power and passion and movement in this. There's a big push for creative energy, which is really beautiful and really great. The one thing to look out for here is, remember not to be too youthful in your drive, so much so that you forget to dot your I's, cross your T's, make sure that you are thinking first before you put that really amazing energy into action. So it's potent. You've got a good amount of support and energy that's coming through for you to create with. You just want to make sure that you're paying attention to that. So make sure that you're looking at you're effectively using your creative energy, better said, right? So now we're looking at the challenge, and you actually had the King and the Queen of Coins. Now, coins, pentacles in some decks, right? This is all about the earthly energies. This is about our earthly world, the things that are tangible in our world. Money, right? Definitely is a big part of that. Of course, our finances, but where we live and the earthly pleasures and things like that. So definitely when we're talking about career, of course, with career, often it's like interchangeable with finances, right? We're looking at what our finances look like. And this is about, I believe, speaking to the need to be the king and queen of your actual financial stability. There's something here for you to look at. With kings and queens, like, they're typically about having had the experience. They've gone through battles, they've lost some, they've won some, but they have a level of experience where they rule over a kingdom. This is a more mature approach to career, to finances, to the entire realm of career and finances and work, right? This is a more mature way of stepping in to this arena. And so you're being called into a more mature space. Not to say that you guys are not mature, Cancer, that's not what I'm saying. But for some of you, as I say with generalized readings, when we're looking at a reading for the collective, some of this is going to resonate for some of you, some of it is not. Definitely if you want a personal reading, I'd recommend checking out a link below so that you can book with me personally and get specific readings. However, for some of you, this is really going to resonate. It's about stepping into a more mature space with your finances and with your career. It's about taking the reins and becoming masterful. The kings are masterful. The queens are definitely about masters at creating, right? Masters at ruling their space. So stepping into this higher level of responsibility, higher level of ruling, this is actually a level of mastery that you're being called into, that for some of you, this is going to feel like there is some kind of resistance to it, perhaps, maybe for different reasons, but that's what's being shown here, right? So then we're going to move into the challenge, the spiritual advice. And you might look at this first card with the Nine of Swords and think, how the hell is this spiritual advice? This doesn't look really great. So the Nine of Swords is really about like, this is about anxiety, right? All of the worries, all of the anxiety, all of the things that keep you up at night or create insomnia or whatever it is. This is what's coming up for you. It's like, hey, like, stop letting this rule your life. This is not what it's actually about, right? You need to take, I would actually move these here. You need to take the fire energy that you have, that is the overall theme for the month of February with your career, taking this fiery energy, using the opportunity. This is a beautiful card because the Ace of Wands, any of the aces really are this fresh burst of energy. It's like this gift from the heavens. You usually see there's a hand or something coming from the heavens and handing this off to you. You're being given a lot of passion and fire and guidance to move forward with the things that you want to move forward with. So remember to tap into this Nine of Cups energy. This Nine of Cups is all about enjoying your life, reaping the benefits, right? Like, what is it that you're looking to create? How does this actually feel? For some of you, I'm actually feeling that this is tapping into the feelings that are associated with, you know, good life, good food, good wine, good whatever it is for you, right? Living the good life, living the dream, tapping into these emotions and allowing that to help fuel this. And remembering, like, do not let this rule your experience. This is not where you need to be living, okay? So definitely feeling like we're going to do some clarification, or not clarification cards, but some deeper cards to actually dive into this a little bit further. Let's take a look at your love life. Okay. All right, Cancer. Real talk. Real talk, Cancer. Stop with the same patterns over and over again. It's dead. It's like, so look at this picture. Notice that there are 10 swords going into the body of this person. It's like, it's the whole kicking a dead, like beating a dead horse, right? That whole saying. It's done. It's over. Whatever this was from the past, if you're thinking about an ex, if you've been dealing with being in a cycle, especially through this Venus retrograde that we just came out of, if you've been dealing with a cycle of being in this ex relationship thing that's been going on and it hasn't been healthy and it's been toxic, it's fucking toxic. It's done. Get rid of it. It's over. End it. This is about continuing to repeat patterns where it's like, it's been dead and gone. It's so dead that the only problem here is that you're not recognizing that it's actually dead. It's so ridiculously dead. There are 10 swords in it and you still won't allow it to be dead. So this goes for exes, and this goes for anybody who is dealing with toxic relationships or toxic relationship patterns. Needs to be, it's already done. It's already decided. This is the overall theme for some of you. So some of you, obviously you're in lovely relationships and this isn't going to resonate on that level. How it might resonate for some of you who are single or in very loving relationships is like, perhaps there are patterns here. So this is very much a patterns card, right? What patterns are you repeating? What patterns are continuing to occur in your love life? Whether you're single or in a beautiful relationship, whatever it is, what is continuing to play out that doesn't actually serve you having the kind of relationship that you definitely want to be having, right? So here we see also the King of Coins. Two things are coming through really strongly here for you guys as a challenge. For some of you, this actually is representative of somebody who is a little bit like King of Coins, not like the King of Swords, is not necessarily cold. This can be somebody who is a little bit more pragmatic, maybe too pragmatic. So if you're actually dealing with a specific person, and I'm going to read this two ways, so this is going to apply for some of you. Somebody who's really pragmatic, somebody who's really maybe career focused or financially focused, or just like they're all about the plans. They're all about like getting things done, very earthly focused, right? So for some of you, this is something that you really want. The upside of somebody who's a King of Coins, if this is an actual person, is that they can also be doing very well for themselves financially and be very generous with that. That could actually, in the way that this is a challenge card, remember. So if we're looking at this as a challenge card, this could be somebody who's maybe you feel tempted to continue to be in this relationship with them because of their financial support, because they are somebody who provides in a way that is really tempting to not want to have to leave. Perhaps there's a level of security because coins are also about security, right? Earth, security, grounding, that you don't want to leave, and they are actually not the ones, right? So take that and read that as either that's a person or that these are aspects that are very challenging for you. Maybe these are pitfalls where you tend to actually struggle, right? So, and again, I'm feeling like in this section, we're probably going to pull some clarification cards for this one. So then we come into your actual spiritual advice, right? And we're moving into the wands. Now, what I really love here is that the wands are about, like I said, that creation, that passion, that fiery kind of energy. And where we are with the Three of Wands is this beautiful place where you have this horizon at which you can look out and say, which adventure am I going to go on? What am I choosing to create? What world do I want to go into when it comes to my relationship? And so given these two prior cards, I would say for Cancers this month, for February, focus on getting to the heart of what is the pick your own adventure for love relationships. How do you want to feel? How do you want to build relationships? What kinds of relationships do you want? Open, closed, casual, serious. Where are you in the mix? Maybe this is a good time for you to examine your non-negotiables and your desired list and your definite no's. Like, this is an absolute deal breaker. What are your deal breakers? And, you know, while lists like that are not meant to, I think, be taken like for every, like, you're not looking for someone to meet every single thing on your list. You know, I mean, yes, that would be great, but you know, there are the non-negotiables, there are the things that are deal breakers, those are the definites, and then there's like kind of the wish list of what you'd like to create. It gives you, I think, an idea, and for some of you, it might just be a refresher for you to kind of tune into where are you at with what you want in relationships now. Maybe what you wanted 2 years ago, pre-pandemic, might be different than what you're actually valuing and what you want now. What is the adventure you want to go on now? Where do you want to take your love life? This is the time to really consider it. This is the spiritual advice that you're being given. Okay? So with that said, I'm going to bring this down here and definitely going to pull a couple more cards here. Okay. All right, so some of these are a little bit out of frame. I apologize. Like I said, I'm looking at having a camera that is a little bit higher above. So what I'd love to do is just pull a couple of cards. Let's take a look at this challenge card for love. I definitely want to get a little bit more information about that. And let's take a look also. I would like to get a little bit more insight. Oh, actually, I'm being called to use a different deck. All right. Okay, so we have the Knight of Swords that is right over the 10 of Swords there. And then we have, for clarification, we have over the King of Coins, we have the 7 of Wands. And I would like a little bit more information also about career with the challenge. I'd like some more information for that, please. 7 of Swords. Interesting. Okay. And I feel like the top row is actually pretty clear. So I'm going to go over this really briefly. We're going to dive into this a little bit more in the extended reading. Like I said, the extended reading, the links will be down below. But let's first actually take a look at the King and Queen of Swords. And then we have another Swords card, right? Swords, let's just remember for a moment that the swords are all about, they're all about thought, precision, piercing through, integrity, honesty, you know, communication, right? And so when we're looking at the realm of your career and finances, what we're seeing is there's some really shisty energy here. So with being called into this, now this could be you lying to yourself, not being honest with yourself about the level of responsibility and stepping up that needs to actually happen in the world of your finances and career. This could also be that you have dealings with people who are not really trustworthy. Maybe you have a gut feeling that there are certain business partnerships or projects or being involved with people in the office or whatever it is where you need to be aware, I would say. So I would say take a look at this and examine where are you on point with your communication, with the way that you're handling your finances, with the way that you are handling your career. Are you stepping into it in a masterful way? And also, are you being honest with yourself about what's there to look at? And also, is there anybody that you have maybe been questioning that you already have an intuitive feeling about? For some of you, that will be an actual person. And for some of you, this will be about how, like, your own shadow self and what's happening internally. When we're looking at your love life and we kind of get some clarification on the King of Coins here, you know, whether this is an actual person or whether this is really about those particular characteristics and you needing to look at this for yourself, we have the Seven of Wands. You know, this is definitely about holding your ground. This is about, you've been through battles, you've had to, like, you've gained the upper hand, you've gained higher ground vantage point, right? And so you're having to really like hold that position. There's a lot of energy that looks like is being expended with this. So if this is a person, is this really worth the kind of energy that you're expending? It's just a question. It's just something to consider. And then when we're looking at the overall theme with the patterns, right? That 10 of Swords, here we have the Knight of Wands, or the Knight of Swords. And again, the knights are about this like rushing in. And so this, I would say that there's some kind of connection with these patterns having to do with communication, especially communication that's really youthful. It's not like maybe the most conscious communication. It's maybe not the most mature communication. I just saw that that's out of frame, so I'll pull that up. So maybe not the most conscious, maybe not the most mature, you know, one or both of you or all of you, depending on if, you know, you could be in a triad, I don't know. But whichever way the relationship structures go, there's some kind of pattern having to do with youthful and communication and kind of being rash. Like maybe things are said in a rash way or bluntly or abruptly, you know, when it comes to the communication in your relationships. So that's something to consider as well. And I hope that that helps clarify some things for you. We're going to actually pull some cards for the extended reading as well. Please excuse my squeaky floor. So I like to pull cards for God and Goddess cards. The way that I see it, whatever your beliefs are your beliefs. I definitely don't like to impose beliefs on anybody. So I see them as representing certain archetypes, masculine and feminine energy, and the way that we utilize the characteristics, the strengths of these particular deities and how they come through that we can utilize and embody and help guide us through the experiences that we have in the month ahead. Okay, I feel like there's one more good shuffle in there. All right. And we will also be going over shadows. So that word, you're gonna hear me say this a lot. It gets overused immensely. And I think that it's so overused that people kind of roll their eyes about shadow work now. Shadow work is really just the disowned aspects of ourselves, the ones that that usually trip us up when we're not paying attention, we're not looking. The disowned aspects of ourselves, blind spots really is another way to say it, right? And so we're going to take a look at that and let's get some spiritual advice for Cancers. Let's just get an extra boost of spiritual advice for Cancers for the month of February. Like, what are you being invited to? What are you being called to? What's going to be helpful? we're going to pull just 2 more cards. So what is the point of all of this? In terms of journey, in terms of like where you are on the map of life, where things are actually going, what is the actual point? What is the journey here for you in the month of February? And our very last one, this is absolutely my new most favorite of my decks. And we will be taking a look at a rune that is showing up to give some guidance. What I really love about the runes is that they can be really instructive. So this is going to be in the extended reading. We'll be going over the masculine and feminine archetypes, also shadow aspects, the blind spots for you, spiritual advice with that, what this journey is all about for you, and some practical advice coming from the runes. That will all be in the extended reading in the link down below on Patreon. So thank you, Cancer, for joining me in this first new series. Please let me know what resonated, what you liked, what you might like to see more of or have included down in the link in the comments below. So, all right, have a lovely February. Thank you.